Adam, thank you for joining me here today on this Vegan Plant-Based Summit. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's really good to be joining you. I'm really pleased to be doing this.
So where did it all begin? How did you become vegan and for what reasons?
So I've been vegetarian for around 7 years, but it was actually my partner that went vegan first. And so I then said, well, if you're going to be vegan, I'll support that and we'll be vegan at home. And the thing that I couldn't give up at first was halloumi. So if I went out for food, I might have eaten some halloumi, but it was him that first inspired me to make the full change. I've been learning all about veganism and activism since. And I think the more you become vegan, the more you learn about veganism.
That's true. I know that when I first became vegan, I was totally in the dark about everything apart from the animals. Obviously, the animals are a major reason for why I became vegan. But then I started to notice health benefits, and they weren't just physical health benefits, but mental as well. It was as though my body had got lighter and healthier, and I was able to think clearer. Is that the same sort of thing that you experienced?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing that for me with going vegan was for the health benefits. I've got I'm sure we'll talk about it soon, but my body's been through a lot due to a previous illness. So I went vegan because I wanted to look after my body more. Then the more I looked into veganism and activism, and the more you learn about cruelty to animals and all of those kind of things. So you just learn more and more that the more you get into it and the more you go through it. But for me, it was about the health benefits first.
You just mentioned that you had an illness. Would you like to tell us a bit more about that illness?
Yeah, so unfortunately in 2009, I got a thing called Guillain Barre syndrome, or GBS for short. And what that did is it paralyzed me from top to toe within 3 weeks, and left me in a locked-in state. The illness is sometimes described as getting better slowly because you have a really rapid decline. But then it took me 2.5 years to get back to a normal kind of state. And in that 2.5 years, obviously, I spent time in a wheelchair. I spent time with walking aids, crutches, those kind of things. And obviously, there were times when I thought I might be left in a wheelchair or I might be bedridden for the rest of my life. And it really gave me a different outlook on life. And in a good way, it made me become more positive. But going through that made me want to really look after my body and think about how I can treat it better, how I can give it the right things that it needs. And also one of the things is obviously I'm really thankful that I'm now able to play sports, to be able to go to the gym and do all of those things after going through the illness. So I'm now on a bit of a massive health push and fitness push to get myself as strong as I can be, to be as fit as I can be. It's a not very nice illness, and unfortunately, quite a large number of people can be left with like really bad residual effects from the illness. So I'm one of the lucky ones.
So from my research, I believe it's a disease that affects the autoimmune system, specifically the peripheral nerves. Now, how did you manage to overcome this horrible disease?
So with my recovery, I wasn't actually vegan at the time of recovering from GBS. But what GBS left me with was issues. I've got things like nerve impingements. So basically, if I stretch my arms out too much, I get a shooting pain, and I got the same thing in my legs. So actually, for me, the veganism started to come around because I wanted to look after my body, and I wanted to give my body the best ability to kind of mitigate those like residual effects that I've got. And obviously, like I mentioned, I'm really thankful of the fact that I'm able to play sports and do all of those things. So I just wanted to be able to prove that I can be fit and fighting, and even having gone through something like GBS, to do all of those things is a massive push for me and a massive goal to be the best that I can be.
So for people at home that are going through a similar situation with GBS, what would be your number one tip or takeaway for them?
I'd say it's all about a positive mindset. And I know it sounds a bit of a cliche, but you do go through like ups and downs, and your mental health can be really affected by going through such a massive effect on your physical health. But being able to keep that positive mindset and set yourself little goals and little accomplishments that you can do as you're recovering, I think that's the key to get through it.
So how long have you been vegan?
In total?
I've been vegan since for 7 months now.
7 months. And how has the transition from vegetarianism to veganism gone? Has it been difficult? Has it been difficult in restaurants, in the general community, at home, or has it been a swift transition?
I actually think that the pandemic and the lockdown has actually helped my transition from vegetarian to vegan, just because you can't go out, you can't go to restaurants, and you're not going to restaurants with friends and they pick the restaurants, and then you've got to go there and find the vegan item on the menu. But the thing is that I've learned so much about veganism and how to be vegan, that I just think that I'll be able to navigate that a lot more clearly now. So I'd recommend to anyone else that's going vegan is to take the small steps and don't beat yourself up if you do make a mistake. I remember once when we accidentally ate something that had got milk powder in it because we'd not checked the menu properly, and we both felt really bad. But all you can do is make the small changes and build towards it. And no one's perfect, and mistakes might happen, but you just got to try your best.
So you obviously are very active, and I've noticed from Instagram that you actually swim in the freezing cold sea, which is insane. But swimming in the sea does help your brain to reset itself emotionally and mentally. Also, if with GBS, it's obviously going to have an amazing effect on your body. But I can't help but notice from the t-shirt you're wearing that you are a vegan tech sponsor, advocate, ambassador.
So Vegan Tech, I am a brand ambassador for them. They're a brilliant company, and I got in touch with them through Instagram, and I followed them at first because I was really interested in the fact that they make a nutritional shake that's full of loads of goodness and live cultures. And one of the big things for me with that is that I read something about that it can prevent bloating. And one of the things that I've had an issue with my gut is that I can bloat really easily. So I was just really interested in it. And then they kind of went, well, you're vegan, you do a lot of fitness, let's work together. So that's how it kind of started. And then they sent me the products and this lovely t-shirt. And it's a brilliant product. I take it with a protein shake as well, and it makes the protein shake taste better. It's really versatile. You can cook with it. I make overnight oats with it. I make little protein bowls and stuff. It's just a really good product, and it's really good for your insides, and it gives you loads of energy. That's one of the big things. And when you are doing a lot of fitness stuff and open water swimming and playing football, and I do a lot of home workouts, that's a really key thing for me is to be able to have that energy and feel good and not feel bloated. Another
thing that is an issue generally, it's the first question people actually ask you, and it's a really annoying question because it just requires a little bit of education. But where do you get your protein from?
The big thing for me recently, up until 2 weeks ago, I was totally #team tofu. I'd have tofu in as many meals as possible. I don't, like you mentioned beans. I'd have edamame beans and black beans, pinto beans, all all the different kinds, quinoa, lentils. But the big thing for me at the moment is seitan. It's a brilliant thing to make. Like, you can have so much fun with it. It's made from vital wheat gluten. So unfortunately, obviously, it's not very good if you're gluten-free as well. But it's vital wheat gluten. I make it with chickpea flour as well. And you can add loads of such a variety of different kind of spices and flavors and sauces to make it taste in many different ways. Like, you can make it more like chicken, you can make it more like beef if that's your kind of thing. So yeah, it's really low in fat, it's low in carbs, but it's really high protein. But one of the things that I've learned from in my vegan journey is to always have a variety of protein sources, always have a variety of carbs. Carbs are not an enemy.
No.
Carbs are actually the thing that keep me going. So I'm constantly having to increase my carb intake with the more fitness stuff that I do. So yeah, but that's where I get my protein from seitan, tofu, and beans.
So anybody on the keto diet, can they get your recipe?
Well, I've got a version of it on my Instagram, so they can go and check that out. But one of the things that I did when I first started looking into seitan is that I read probably about 5 or 6 different recipes, and then like I'm not one that conforms to a type. I can't follow a recipe. It's just not in my system, and it's probably why I can't actually bake. But what I did is I went and read 5 or 6 different recipes, and then took the best advice from each one, and then just had a go at it. And the first batch that I made, I did it through you can do it through a boiling technique. So you boil it in a broth, but you can also make it by steaming it. And in fact, this weekend, I'm going to make a steamed batch. So I'll let you know how that goes.
What's the number one tip that you can give to somebody thinking about being plant-based, thinking about being vegan, to help them on their journey? Because obviously you're still transitioning. You are a vegan, but you're still in that under a year phase. So what's the number one tip that you'd like to give people?
I think maybe there's something actually in what I've just mentioned about the seitan recipes, is that actually what I'd suggest for someone to do is to not just follow the way that I became vegan, or maybe follow the way that you became vegan, or another vegan that they know, but actually is to look at all the different people that are vegan and find what their best tip is, and then make your own kind of like plan from that. I think it's being inspired by lots of different people can really help. The other thing I'd say is like I mentioned earlier, is that you can make mistakes, and it's not I think you can't just put a full stop to a change in a diet. Is that you've got to make the mistakes, you've got to learn, you've got to develop, and the more that you do it, the better you become at it. So it's to take it in small steps, to do it as a process, and it's not a definite change. Just to remember that it is a process that you're going through. But hopefully more people will become vegan for the health, for the animals, for all of it.
Let me just take you back then. You actually created a video about your journey. We'll put a link to that video on the page, but tell us a little bit more about the video and what made you make the video, what the video is about, and why people should watch it.
So obviously we spoke about my illness with GBS, and you very kindly mentioned that I'm a theatre producer. So one of the things we did is we made a show about the illness, and it toured nationally in the UK in 2016 and 2017. And we also did an international live stream. So it was streamed across the world and had viewers in many different countries. Most people haven't heard of Guillain Barre syndrome. Only 1 in 100,000 people get it per year. It's a really rare condition, and there's a tiny charity that supports the illness. So I just wanted to use my skill, which is working in theatre, to make a production about illness and recovery but to also shine a spotlight on GBS, to raise awareness. And it's been such an incredible thing to do, because we've performed it in hospitals, we've performed it obviously in theatres. It's a great teaching tool for kind of university hospitals. And so the video that I shared is the trailer for the show. But even that trailer on its own, when it's not advertising a show that's not touring anymore, still gives that information. It still raises awareness. But the show which we did stream is available on YouTube. So people can go and watch the show. They can go and learn about the illness GBS and about my recovery and how I went through that.
Obviously, you'd like to raise the profile for GBS. Where can the people at home find out more about GBS?
So there's a company called Guillain Charity. So Guillain Charity are the ones that commission the show, and that's Guillain, so Gain. It stands for Guillain Barre and other inflammatory neuropathies, which is a real mouthful, and I'm glad I got that right. But yeah, so Guillain Charity, I'm actually now the vice chair of the board of trustees for that charity. And again, I do that because I want to be able to continue to raise the profile of the charity and support the work that they do, so they can in turn support people that suffer with GBS. So
you've actually transitioned from being a sufferer of GBS to an advocate for the charity. Well, that's amazing in itself. So it shows that you as an individual are looking towards improving human health for others as well as yourself. So that's highly commendable, and thank you. And thank you, Adam, for being here today. And thank you for the conversation and everything that you're doing for GBS sufferers and for vegans around the planet, and to get the message out there and, to get improving human lives and people's health. So thank you very much, and good luck for the future.
Thank you so much. It's been a lovely chat. And thank you for all you're doing for veganism as well.
Thank you.